Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, can you hear my voice properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Clear.
please read this question. Please read the question.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, did you read the question? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you? Okay, did you read the question?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to here this question is develop a three-station assembly line for the following tasks. So A and B uh, takes and respectively, and they don't have predecessor. C follows A and it takes 8 seconds. D follows A and it takes 14 seconds. Follows B and it takes 16 seconds. F follows B, it takes 25 seconds. H follows C and it takes 6 seconds. I follows E and takes 16 seconds. J follows H and takes 20 seconds. K follows H and takes 12 seconds. L follows J and it takes 6 seconds. It's the last.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
There are a lot of interruptions today with my internet connection. So now, we have to, we are being asked, develop a three-station assembly line for the following task. And then question number one is, see, first thing you have to do is develop a three-station assembly line. And then of that, we have to answer what is the cycle time. And then there's a question, is it the optimal cycle time? And then what is the balance delay of the line? And then we are asking how many workers do we need to meet an order of 200,000 units to be completed within a month. Assume that the workers work 8-hour shift per day and there are 20 days working in the month. The precedence diagram. So A is a starting activity, and then CD follows A, and B is the starting activity, and E follows B, and F follows D and B. It takes 20 seconds, and G follows E, and I follows E. H follows G, and then J is after H, K is after H, and then finally L is after J. So L is the final activity. Now we need to find out. So we actually, before finding the balance, we need to calculate the optimal cycle time. So you have total, when you add these numbers, when you add all these numbers, you get 193, all the task times. So when you add these 30 plus 20, 50, 50 plus 8, 58, plus 14, 72, plus 16, 88, plus 20, 108, plus 25, 133, plus 6, 139, plus 16, 155, plus 20, 175, plus 12, 187, plus 6, 193. So we have to divide 193 by 3. That's, this is total value-added time divided by number of workstations. So number of workstations here is 3. So that becomes 64.33. And then 80, you have to round it up. Okay, round it up. Then it becomes 65. Actually, 65 is the optimal cycle time. So we need to find a balance. So if you can find a balance for 65, then you have given a perfect answer. So in this one, the perfect answer, I have created perfect answer. Remember, what you are not allowed is only to violate the precedence. Okay, only to violate. Here, there is nothing about those rules of rules of allocations like most number of following tasks and then the longest operation time. These are rules, so we don't need that. So here only the primary thing is we cannot violate the precedence. So here, I see by creating a workstation, A is allocated first, and then B is allocated next. And then A plus B, we get 20, plus 30 plus 20, that's 50. So closer to 65. So we get, if we allocate, we have allocated A and B, C is possible, D is possible, E is possible. So if you allocate E, then 30 plus 20 plus 16, you get 66. So it's above 65. And then, so because of that, I allocated D. So the A, B, D, the workstation time becomes 30 plus 20 plus 14. So it becomes 64. So station number 1, time is 64, A, B, D. 64. Idle time, of course, we determine later. So after finalizing the workstations, okay. Idle time is decided after finalizing the workstations. So, and then we go for second workstation. Second, so now after ABD, feasible tasks are C, F, E. So we allocate first E, and then and then after E, feasible tasks, you have C, F, G, I. So when I allocate G, so then 16 plus 25, we get 41. And then allocate I, then get 57. Then allocate C. So then 57 plus 8, 65. So workstation number 2 is created that way. So EGIC, 16 plus 25 plus 16 plus 8, 65. And then we go into workstation number 3. So now we have allocated A, B, D for station 2, E, G, I, C. So then what remains are F, H, J, K, L. So F is next. So then 20 plus H, 6, 26 plus J, 20, that means 46 plus 12, 58 plus 6, 64. So the third workstation is F, H, J, K, L. So that is 64. So F, H, J, K, L, 20 plus 6 plus 20 plus 12 plus 6, then 64. So we created 3 workstations, and then the maximum cycle time, maximum time in the maximum workstation is 65. So then the cycle time is 65. And then we calculate the idle time. So 65 minus 64 is 1. 65 minus 64 is 1. So first station and third station, you have idle time 1 second each. So we created balance. And then the balance time is 65 seconds. So that is the answer for what is the cycle time. So this is, cycle time. And then so balance cycle time is 65 seconds. And then this one is optimal. This is optimal cycle time. So this is for 1. And then balance delay. You see, you have 2 seconds idle time. Divide by 3 times 65 multiplied by 100. So you get 1.03%. So then the balance delay is 65 seconds. And then, see, we need to calculate, in order to produce 200,000 units in the month, how many workers do we need to meet an order of 200,000 units to be completed within a month? Assume that the workers work 8-hour shift per day and there are 20 days of working in the month. So So then, first thing is, we have to calculate 1 day output. 1 day output of the assembly line. For one assembly line, 1 day output. In 1 day, you have 8 hours multiplied by 60 multiplied by 60 seconds. Okay, and then cycle time is 65 seconds. So because the every 65 seconds, this production line produces a unit. So then 8 times 60 times 60, that during that much time, when you divide that by 65, you produce, the number is 443. So you get actually 443 something, some fraction. So here, you need to round down. Round down, fractional items are not acceptable. So round down. So then, we produce 443 units in one production line. And then 20-day output for one assembly line, 443 multiplied by 20 and 8,860. So that is the output for one assembly line. And then number of assembly lines needed. So you divide 200,000 by 8,860, you get 22.57. So then that one, you need to round up. Okay. So that means 23. 23 assembly lines you need to produce 200,000 units in the month. So that means, one assembly line is 3 workers. So because we have 3 workstations, okay, 3 workstations means 3 workers. And since one assembly line has 3 workers, we need 23 multiplied by 3, that equals 69 workers to complete the order. So this is, this is the answer. If you have any complications, you can ask.
Sir, how we took that ABD and EGIC, do we have any sequential order to take like that, ABD and task under workstations?
So you see, in the production, you need to follow, the sequence. This sequence you have to follow, right? This task have to be completed in special sequence. So that's what this procedure diagram tells. So this sequence we are not allowed to violate. And then I calculated, 60, 193, you got 193. This is very valid time. You get total task time. Divided by 3, then you get 64.33. That is, the cycle time to produce, to have 3 workstations. And then, you round it up to find out, the practical cycle, because task time are given in the integer numbers. So you have to have a cycle time that is an integer. Now so I'm keeping this 65 in mind. So actually, if you are doing it first time, you have to do it trial and error. Okay. So then keeping 65 in my mind, I allocated it without violating the precedence. So I had it for the workstation 1A, then B. After A and B, okay. I could have allocated A and B, A plus 30, B 20, so 20 plus 20, then 50. So then if I allocate E to the workstation 1, then the task time of the workstation becomes 66. So it's above 65. So therefore, I decided to allocate D instead of E. and then it becomes 64. So that's how I got allocated ABD for workstation 1. Remember, if you look at, A, B. So once A is allocated, C and D feasible. Okay. Once B is allocated, E and F feasible. So I first allocated A, then allocated B, and then allocated D. So then I got 64 seconds. So that's how I got this allocation for A for workstation 1. Did you get that?
Yes, sir. I got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
And then for second workstation, now that we have already allocated A, B, D. So the next candidates are C, E. C, E, C is a candidate, E is a candidate, F is also a candidate. So C, F, E, O, these are candidates. So now I'm, I just, calculated within 65, what are the, within 65, what are the possible combination without violating the precedent. So that's why I selected E. Once E is allocated, G, I become feasible. So then I allocated G. So then 25 plus 16, then 41. So then I allocated I. After E, I is feasible. So 41 plus 16, 57. Then the C. C is 8, so 57 plus 8, 65. So that's how I decided workstation number 2. EGIC 16 plus 25 plus 16 plus 8. That means 65. So then next thing I did was the remaining time. I'm allowed only to have one more station. Okay. And then I allocated remaining tasks. F, H, J, K, L, 20 plus 6, 26 plus 20, 46 plus 12, 58 plus 6, 64. So then that's how the third station came. So if you had an additional task, another task LM, 5 seconds task M, 64 plus 5 is 69. So then third workstation becomes 69, and then the cycle time becomes 69, and then this one idle time 4, and this one idle time 5. So it's going to be different. So but then the final task here is 6L, so we got 64. And then, out of these cycle times, in each workstation is total times, workstation time 64, 65, 64. So the maximum one is 65. This is the cycle time. And then for this 65 cycle time, what are the idle time? 65 minus 64, this is 1, and 65 minus 64, this is 1. So that's how it is. Got it? Did you get it? Is it clear now?
Yes.
So workstation 2, why we cannot consider it?
Oh, workstation 2.
Yes, sir.
So I actually, here, you are allowed to work out combinations, right? You are allowed to work out combinations. I could have considered. But I wanted to calculate a combination that gives me 65 without violating the precedence. So let's say out of the remaining tasks, if I had used E and then F 16 plus 20, then 36. And then let's say G 36 plus 25, then it's going to be 61. And then it's closer. There are four seconds gap between this combination, E, F, G combination and 65. So that's why I can consider this, but then I did not do it because it's the bigger cycle time, bigger if it is, we are trying to balance it for 65, right? Failing that only, you will have to accept whatever the answer you got. Actually, some students have, in this question, for this particular question, some students have had that combination, E, F, G, C. So then the cycle time had gone to 69. Then their answer was not optimal, but correct. So then with that particular combination, answer is correct, but not optimal. So such students also got marks, here, because there's no, in the question, I did not ask to here develop a 3-station assembly line for the following tasks. There's nothing about, there's nothing I talk about, but, develop a 3-station assembly line for optimizing the cycle time. If you had been asked that way, then you have to answer for 65. Any other answer would have been wrong. But here, you have a number of answers. Only thing is you have 3 workstations. Cycle time, you can have a cycle time that may not be optimal. But in the sense, if you have violated the precedence, the task precedence in this diagram, if you had created a combination, let's say A plus B, let's say A, B, let's say,
Excuse me, sir.
something like, yes,
According to the given data, A and B maybe can same time. Then for first workstation, why we need to add 30 plus 20 plus 14?
you see, A is a starting task. B is also a starting task. So there's nothing wrong with adding A and B to a particular workstations. Here, our objective is to create workstations.
But both
And you need to
tasks
create
are starting same time, then if can't we consider only the 30 minutes?
No, because these are, this is a task, right? A is a task. It's not a workstation. So workstation can have number of tasks. Workstation characteristics is workstation can perform number of tasks. It is manned by one person. It can have number of machines. Okay.
Okay.
You are thinking that these tasks are workstation. Tasks are not workstation. But it can have number of tasks. For an example, let's say in a garment factory sewing situation, the one person can do the sewing for, let's say, two hands. Two hands can be assigned to one person for sewing. So then this one hand sewing and the other hand sewing. Let's say he in a shirt, one hand sewing and another hand sewing is two tasks, and then assigned for one worker. So like that. Okay, so I have to go to the lecture proper. So this is this particular answer is optimal answer, but it may be that during the examination the students may not have worked out the same combination. But in such situation, I give marks if station creation has not violated the precedence of these tasks. So let's say if you had created a workstation A, B, and then F, A, B, and F. So A is 30, B is 20, F is 20. Then you get 70 cycle time 70. But then you have violated precedence because D is in order to allocate F, you have to have allocated and F, D and B. So without D and B allocating, you cannot go for F. Without allocating E, you can E and B, you cannot go for G. So you may be able to find combinations, but in that particular combination, if this precedence is violated, the answer is wrong. Okay.
So without considering F, can we go for G and I or any other parts?
Without considering F,
Yes.
let's say you have already, let's say you get first station ABD with the ABD, and then possible candidates are CFE. Possible candidates for combination CFE.
Yes.
And then, okay, so then let's say you allocate E for station 2. Then possible candidate CFG I. After E, let's say after A, B, D, E, the feasible candidate C, F, G, I. So then out of them, I selected G. So then 16 plus 25, 41. And then let's say 41 plus 20, it would have been 61. And then for this 61, I have to consider another one, let's say 869. So it's not, then it goes B65. So I discarded F, instead I allocated I, EGI, and then EG, 16, 57. So then I selected C8, then 65. So that's why I discarded F. So if I allocated for the last workstation. So then I have I have a workstation, second workstation without violating the precedence. So the sequence of allocating task to the workstation 2 is E, G, I, C. Okay. So that is the sequence. So this sequence, sequence in line with the precedence in the diagram. Okay.
Right, sir. Got it. Thank you.
So no, what would have happened is like if you had, let's say, if you had created a different combination, you would have got a different answer. So then let's say workstation, task, task type. So now you see, let's say, no, it's not 3 employees for each station. One station, one employee. So for so these one station, one employee. So let's say station 1, 1 employee, station 2, 1 employee, station 3, 1 employee. For the assembly line, whole line, 3 workers. 1 worker, 1 station, 1 worker. So then this uh, 2, 3. So that when the work in station 1 is complete, go to station 2. When it's complete, go to station 3. And it's when it's complete, the product is complete. So that's how it is. So let's say I'm going to, let's say we create here this is A, C, D, right? So then, we create A is a starting task. And then after A, let's say we could allocate CD, CD, C, and D. So then you have 30 plus C, say 38 plus 14, 52. So then possible is E is not possible. F is also not possible because B has not been allocated. So 30 plus 14, 44 plus 8, 52. So then, you know, what happens is this is station. Station 1, sorry, A, B, C. So if we you know, we have option of allocating once A, C, D is allocated, F is not possible because B has not been allocated. So we have to either allocate B or stop. So then let's say from 52 to we have keep in mind 65, 54, 52 to 65, 30 seconds. So we have option of keeping the workstation idle 13 seconds idle or adding B. So let's say add B. Add B. So then the task A is 20. 20. B is 14. 14 plus C is 8 plus 20. So you get 34 plus 8. So is 30. Sorry. 30 plus 14, 44 plus 8, 52 plus 20. Then it's 65. Sorry, 72. This is going to be 72. And then go to next say station 2. Station 2. So now allocated A, C, D, B. So we can allocate F, G, E, F is 16 plus F is 20. 16 to 36 plus 25, G 25. Then you get 36 plus 25, 61. And let's say allocate F, E, F, G. E, F, E. So then 16 plus 20 plus 6, 25. So this becomes 61. And then remaining time I'm going to allocate for station 3 in the sequence. So I, H, J, K, L. So then 16 plus 6 plus 20 plus 12 plus 6. So this equals 16 plus 6, 22 plus 20, 42 plus 12 plus 12, 54 plus 6, 60. So you can double check whether our answer is correct. Let's say 60 plus 61 is 121 plus 72, you know, you get 193. So answer is correct. And then the long operation workstation is now 1. Its time is 72. Then cycle time is 72. Now the idle time is 0 here. 72 minus 61 is 11 idle time. 72 minus 60 it's going to be 12. So the total idle time is 23. So the answer is going to change. So then the cycle time is going to be 72 seconds. 72 seconds. Balance cycle time is 72 seconds. This is not optimal. So the answer is going to change, okay? And balance delay will be 23 divided by 3 times 72 multiplied by 100. So it's going to be a different number. So it's if you use the calculator, 23 divided by 72 times 3 multiplied by 100. So you get the balance delay is 10.65. 10 points is going to be 10.65% balance delay. And then the number of workers you need is going to change. Okay, this is let's say you have one day, you have 8 hours multiplied by 60 multiplied by 60. So you have 28,800 seconds divided by 72. So then one day output is going to be 400 units. Okay. One day output is going to be 400 units. And then multiply that by 20. So then 1 month output is going to be 8,000. And then you divide 8,000 by 200,000 by 8,000. So you get 25,000. So 25. So when you divide 200,000 by 8,000, you get 25. So you have 20. You need 25 workstations. You get a fixed integer number, so you don't need to up round up and so on. So we need 25 assembly lines. So you have three workstations. So you need 25 times 3. You need 75 workers. So then this answer is going to be changed. So here this is going to be 400. 60 times 60 divided by 72 going to be 400. And then 20 day, 400 times 20 going to be 8,000. And then number of 200,000 divided by 8,000 going to be 25. Since one assembly line has 3 workers, so 25 times 3 answer is going to be 75. So still that answer is also correct. That answer is correct, but it's not the optimal answer. Optimal answer is 69. Imagine, you hire additional 6 workers. Hire additional 6 workers. So additional 6 workers means in 1 month you have additional 6 workers. You have to pay, assuming that one worker salary is 50,000. So, although companies pay 50 salary, let's say when you pay 50,000 for the employee, company incur additional cost also. So total cost may be double, 100,000 per employee. And then 100,000 per employee multiplied by 3 employees, 300,000. Then for 1 year, 300,000 multiplied by 12. So 3.6 million. So you incur at cost of 3.6 million because you did not find the optimal solution. See, which you could have done first with 69 workers. You are doing it with actually I saw this thing in garment factories. In garment factories in our country, I went for early those very no. About 20 years ago, I went to some consultations. Assembly lines, their efficiency was like in 40 range, 40% range. So they are losing, they are, because they do not do line balancing. They are hiring more employees, too many employees. You see, what they do, what some of these companies do is like this. Let's say this is the task that all these tasks are the tasks to complete one garment. Okay, let's say a shirt, for example, and so they would have hired 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And their cycle time is 30 seconds. Cycle time is 30 seconds. And then balance cycle time is, once you balance the once you balance the line, let's say this in this balance cycle time is 65. In this balance cycle time is 72. The optimal cycle, this is optimal cycle time. Okay, this is in order to produce 193 second work in 3 workstation, you have to have 64.33 seconds cycle time, and then when you round it up, 65. So that's the difference. Balance cycle time is this cycle time of these is balance lines. Okay, right? So you can see what else, let's say what as these government factories do. Then let's say they created 12 workstations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 workstations. And then what will be the what will be the total time? In that case, the creation of 12 workstations. As what they do, 12 workstations, and then cycle time is 30. The highest, longest task time is going to be the cycle time. So then this 360 seconds will be the total allocated time minus 193, that's value added time. So then they have 167 seconds, 167 seconds idle time. And then balance delay. So let's say compute the efficiency. Efficiency is 193 divided by 12 times 12 times 30. Efficiency is going to be 53%. Efficiency is going to be 53%. And then the inefficiency is going to be the balance, like 40, efficiency 53.6 one. So then inefficiency is going to be 44.4. So then you see, to complete an order of 300,000 units, to complete an order of 300,000 units, you see, a lot of number of employees. Let's say the production, you see here, one assembly line has 12 workers, and then, okay, so then the total time in the day is 8 times 60 times 60. That's 28,800. And then in this balance, the cycle time is 30 seconds. So divide that by 30. Okay, one day output is 960. Okay, 960 is one day output. And then with 20 days, they produce 19,200 units. 960. 19,200 units, okay? And then to produce 200,000, you need 19,000. 19,200. So we need 11 workstations. We need 11 workstations. Sorry, 11 assembly lines. 11 assembly lines means you need workers. 11 times 12. You need 132 employees to produce the order. Okay, 132 employees. So let's say, and then additional cost is 69. Gap between optimal and this one 63. You need additional 63 employees. And then multiply this by 100,000. You need 6,300,000 in the month. Additional cost of 6,300,000. And then in the year, you are spending additional 75,600,000. You can see the difference. So this is what many of the government factories do. They don't balance assembly lines, and then they they have the classify the task, and then create the balance. Create the assembly line as task, as for individual tasks. And then these lines are very inefficient. So you can see the cost gap, huge gap. So this is a utter waste. Okay, utter waste of waste of money. What they could have done with 69 workers, they are doing 130. So that's that's how it is. Okay, and I think this may have clarified what is his importance of balancing assembly lines. One thing, the other, because it's going to increase the production efficiency, total efficiency, and minimize idle time. And the other thing is how you how you arrive at, the optimal balance, optimal balance. Actually, this is 72 workstation balance is better than, have creating workstations and workstation for each task. Workstation for each task uh, is for is not even near, this balance. So this balance is very much better than this one, and optimal one is even better than this one. So balancing some way is better. Okay, then shall we actually today's lecture is on production planning. I give you a break. I give you a break, and after the break, we will start the lecture on production planning. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Remember, if you get this type of question, you should read the question properly. Let's say, do you have a 3-station assembly line for the following task? This thing doesn't say that you will create a 3-station assembly line for with optimal cycle time for the following task. If you have been asked that way, you have to create the balance for 65. Any other answer would have been wrong. For example, if had been asked, create a 3-station assembly line for optimal cycle time, and only this answer is correct. This is incorrect. It's, this particular one is incorrect. But in this case, I have not mentioned about optimal cycle time, because why? Purposely I did not mention optimal cycle time, because there is no possibility. There is a huge possibility that nobody will be able to find out this answer. Students will, by creating a suitable balance, they will have got a better answer. So better answer is accepted. Okay. So that's why I did not give the word create a 3-station assembly line with optimal cycle time. That optimal cycle time I did not add here. If it is optimal cycle time, if I had added here optimal cycle time, develop a 3-station assembly line with optimal cycle time for the following task. So then, you have to create a 65-second line. Okay, so then we are going to have a break, and after the break, we meet half an hour break. After the break, we meet to start with the production planning lecture.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So we are moving into the lecture proper. So we'll discuss overview of operations planning activities and aggregate production planning strategies, and cut and try examples. Okay. So the overview of operations planning activities. You have long range, intermediate range, and short range. So process planning is long range one. Strategic capacity planning is long range. And sales and operations, so that is aggregate planning, is the interface between intermediate and long range. And then we divide for manufacturing and services. So manufacturing, we do master scheduling. And then material requirement planning. And then order scheduling. So the master scheduling and partly MRP is the intermediate range. And for services, we go for weekly workforce and customer scheduling. Daily workforce and customer scheduling, For services, you don't have such things as master scheduling, material requirement planning, and so on. So this is an overview of the operations planning activities. And then planning relationships. So you have on the larger umbrella is business or annual plan. And then production plan, staffing plan is the smaller umbrella. And the master production scheduling or workforce scheduling is even in the narrow range. Okay. So these are, so you have to production plan or staffing plan, you have to do business or annual plan under that, subject to that, and then MPS or workforce schedule, you have to do subject to production or staffing plan. And then sales and operations planning activities. You have long range planning, greater than 1 year planning horizon, usually performed in annual increments. Medium range planning, 6 to 18 months, usually monthly or quarterly increments. Short range planning, you have 1 day to less than 6 months, usually with weekly increments. Aggregate production plan, main purpose, specify the optimal combination of production rates, units completed per unit of time, workforce level, that is number of workers, inventory on hand, inventory carried from previous period, and then product group or broad categories, that is aggregation. So this planning is done over an immediate range planning period of 6 to 18 months. So managerial inputs, for the aggregate plan, you have distribution and marketing, customer needs, demand forecast and competition behavior. This information you can get from distribution and marketing. And accounting and finance, you can get cost data, financial condition of HR, you can get labor market conditions, training capacity. Engineering, you can get new products, product design changes, machine standards. Materials, you can get supply capabilities, storage capacity, and material availability. Operations, you can get current machine capacities, plans for future capacities, workforce capacities, and current staffing levels. So these are managerial inputs. So actually, the aggregate plan is the major plan which acts as an interface between all these functions. Aggregate planning process, you have to determine requirements for planning horizon and then identify alternatives, constraints, and costs. Prepare prospective plan for planning horizon. And then is the plan acceptable? If it is not, you have to identify alternatives, constraints, and costs again. And if it's acceptable, then implement an update plan, move ahead to next planning session. So once one horizon is completed, you begin with the new horizon. Horizon is it is the planning, total planning period, maybe 1 year, 6 months, or maybe 18 months, and so on, right? And then aggregate planning cost, you have production cost, overtime cost, hiring and layoff cost, inventory holding cost, back order and stock out costs. The inventory cost and the inventory holding costs, simply we say inventory cost. And back order and stock out costs are time related. Aggregate planning strategies. Strategy, chase strategy. Chase one, we could say, let's say chase one. So here, we vary workforce level to match demand. So this, the strategy works by following the demand, okay? So you do possible alternatives during slack period. Slack period, you lay off. Alternatives during peak season, you hire. Chase two, vary output rate to match demand. Here, chase one, we vary workforce level to match demand. Chase two, we vary output rate to match demand. So alternatives are layoffs, undertime, and vacations. Alternatives during peak hours or peak season, hiring, overtime, and subcontracting. And then the level strategies. Backward cost is that, when people are waiting, customers place orders, and then we don't have items in the inventory to supply them immediately. And then customer will be waiting. Customer will be waiting until the order is supplied. So that cost, the cost to the organization, because of the fact that customer has to wait until the order is supplied. But the thing is, in this situation, what can happen is like, the monetary cost. For an example, when the order is placed, there are two scenarios. Undertime is, you know, when where opposite of overtime. And then when a customer places an order, customer may pay the whole total amount and then wait. That is one back order situation. Wait until order is supplied. Let's say wait for 3 months, 6 months, and so on. And other situation is, let's say customer pays 50% of the order, 50% of the order price, and then wait. So in the first scenario, back order cost is related to customer waiting. There is nothing, we don't see a cost, financial cost for this particular order, but in the future orders, customer may not place orders. So there's a risk of customer not coming back again. You know, for that risk also we need to allow a certain cost. So then that kind of a cost is there in the back order. The other is like if the customer pays, let's say 50% and the balance 50%, once the order is supplied, and then the time value of money is also there. So, you know, such costs will come under the back order cost. And then level 1, constant workforce level. Here we do not lay off because we have a constant workforce. And then building anticipation inventory. The stock out cost is different from actually back order cost and stock out cost. The back order cost is part of stock out cost. So stock out cost has another component for lost sales. And you don't have stocks in the inventory. When an order comes, you know, when you don't supply, some customers may place the order and pay and wait. There are other customers who will not place the order and they will go for competition. So you have in the stock out situation, you have back order cost on one side, and on the other hand, you have a lost sales situation also. So then stock out cost has two components. One thing is lost sales, the other is back order. So here, you know, level 1 is we have a constant workforce. So when you employ a constant workforce, you're not going to do the layoff for hiring. Building anticipation inventory, and then under time. Under time is, you know, when your capacity is, let's say the production capacity is for 100,000 units, but then you are not going to work that much time and work less than that. Let's say if you have, let's say in the day you have 8 hours of working, and then you work 6 hours instead of 8 hours. So that's under time. Overtime is, let's say, regular time working is 8 hours, and then let's say employees are working for another 2 hours, additional hours. So additional hours are overtime. You know, less than the normal time or regular time is under time. Let's say if instead of 8 hours, you work 6 hours. You ask employees, the demand is less. And then peak season, you don't hire depleting anticipation inventory. So you have anticipation inventory, you try to supply from anticipation inventory, and then you overtime and subcontracting, back orders and stock up. And then level 2, constant output rate. Level 1 is constant workforce, level 2 is constant output. Here, you do layoffs, building anticipation inventory, undertime and vacations during slack season. Slack season is, when demand is off season, like, okay. And then during peak season, you hiring, depleting anticipation inventory, overtime, subcontracting, back orders, and stock ups. Let's say we'll work out a cut and try example. We have demand forecast, January 1,800, February 1,500, March 1,100, April 900, May 1,100, June 1,600, and the total is 8,000. So when you add these numbers, you get 8,000. And in number of working days, you have January 22, February 19, March 21, April 21, May 22, June 20, and total 125 days. Other data, material cost is $100 per unit. Inventory holding cost is $1.50 per unit per month. Okay, so inventory cost is time related, right? And then marginal cost of stock out is $5 per unit per month. Marginal cost of subcontracting $20 per unit. Hiring and training cost is $200 per worker. Layoff cost is $250 per worker. You see, normally layoff cost is larger than hiring and training because this may involve litigation. And then labor hours required, you see, 5 per unit. Straight time cost is first 8 hours. Okay, this is regular time. Straight time is regular time. First 8 hours each day is $4 per hour. Overtime cost, overtime cost, you see, time and a half. You see, overtime, maximum allowable overtime is let's say here you pay $4 per hour. Here, during overtime, the payment is the paid overtime 1 hour is paid, regular time 1.5 hours. So when you multiply 4 by 1.5, you get 6. So $6 per hour. Inventory, you have beginning inventory 400 units. Safety stock required is 25% of the month demand. So then aggregate production planning requirements. So first thing is, we have to prepare the requirement schedule. So you have beginning inventory 400. And then demand forecast 1,800. Remember, we have to keep a safety stock 25% of month demand. So then at the end of the January, we have to keep 1,800 multiplied by 0.25. That is 450 units in the safety stock. In February, safety stock is 1,500 times 0.25, that is 375. And then that will be the beginning inventory in March. So the March demand divided by 4, that is 275. That multiplication of by 0.25 is equivalent to multiplication division by 4. So 1,100 divided by 4, you get 275. That will be the beginning inventory in April. April demand is 900, then safety stock is 225. And that will be the beginning inventory in May. And the safety stock in May is 1,100 divided by 4, that is 275. And then beginning inventory in June is 275. And safety stock is 400. That will be the end inventory of the planning horizon. This planning horizon is 6 months. So production requirement, we need to produce, demand forecast you have to produce. And then safety stock you have to produce. And then subtract, the beginning inventory. For, let's say, for January, demand is 1,800, safety stock is 450, minus 400, you get January demand production requirement is 1,850. And then February production requirement is 1,500 plus 375 minus 450, then you get 1,425. March demand 1,100 plus safety stock minus the beginning inventory, you get 1,000. And then April 900 plus 225 minus 275, you get 850. May 1,100 plus 275 minus 225, you get 1,150. In June, 1,600 plus 400 minus 275, you get 1,725. The ending inventory in each month is the safety stock. So here 450, this 375, this 275, 225, 275, and 400. This 400 is actually the ending inventory of the total planning horizon. Okay, is it clear this up to this point, the calculations?
Yes, it's clear.
So then, let's say we go for chase 1, where you workforce. And then January production requirement is 1,850. And then we can calculate the production hours required. So then production requirement multiplied by, it takes 5 hours per unit. So when you multiply 1,850 by 5, you get 9,250. And in January, you have 20 days per month, 22 days per month. And then hours per month per worker, so you see working days is 22, and then 8 hours in the day. So 22 multiplied by 8, you get 176 hours per day per worker. And then workers required, you have to divide 9,200, that's production hours required by number of hours available. So then you get 53. $9,250 divided by 176. you get 52.5568. So when you round it, round up, so you get 53. Round, let's say you round, you can do either way. Round up. When you round up, actually you are in the safe side. Maybe you can round to the nearest integer. Okay. So when you, let's say if you when you round to the nearest integer, what happens is, a fraction that is left out is not produced. So when you round up, there can be additional production. Okay. So since additional production is safer than having lost sale, I recommend actually including round up, but then in this example, I don't think it is. For example, in February production requirement is was required 17,125. When you divide that by 152, you get 46.8. So 47 is okay, correct. And then March 5,000 divided by 168. You get 29.37. 30, it's round up, philosophy is correct. And then April, 4,250 divided by 168. 25, see, you get 25.29. You get 25.29, so it's rounded to nearest integer. Actually, these numbers also rounding to the nearest integer. So here, you have a certain fraction less than requirement, fraction workers less than requirement. Let's say for May, 5,750 divided by 176. You get 30, so round nearest integer. June, 8,625 divided by 160. So that's 54. So rounding to the nearest integer, so in this example, these numbers have been rounded to the nearest integer. In certain certain months, it has been, there's a fraction more than what is required. In certain months, fraction less than. So, in the end, hope it balanced. So actually, I recommend in practice to be on the safe side. Round up. So then, here you get 26. 26, and then if it's, it will be a little different, but then it's in the safe side. So either way, answer is correct, okay? And then, here, here assumption, there's an assumption in the example. assuming opening workforce equal to first month's requirement of 53 workers. So on that assumption, January you don't have to hire. January you don't have to hire, and then there is no hiring cost. Only there is no layoff either. So the layoff cost is 0, hiring cost is 0. And then you have a cost, straight time production cost. So then straight time production cost is $4 per hour. So 9,250 multiplied by 4, you get 37,000. 9,250 multiplied by 4, you get 37,000. And then go to February. February, the production hours required is 7,125. That is production requirement multiplied by 1,425 multiplied by 5, you get 7,125. And then you have 152 hours in the month. And then 7,125 divided by 152, you get 47 workers. And then at the beginning of February, you have 53 workers. So you need to lay off 6. No hiring, you have to lay off 6. So 6 multiplied by 250, you get 1,500 layoff cost. And then 7,125 multiplied by 4, you get 28,500 as the straight time cost. And for March, the production requirement is 1,000. 1,000 times 5 is 5,000. You have 168 hours available. 21 multiplied by 8, that's 168. And then you need 30 workers. 5,000 divided by 168 approximately is 30. And then you don't have to hire because the March you begin with 47 workers. Then you have to fire 17 workers. 17 multiplied by 250, you get 4,250. And then 5,000 multiplied by 4, you get 17,000. Sorry, 20,000. So that is in March you have high layoff cost and straight time cost of 20,000. And then go to April. April production requirement is 850. Multiplied by 5, you get 4,250. And then the number of hours required, hours available is 21 multiplied by 8, that's 168. 4,250 divided by 168, you get 25. And then the April, you begin with 30 workers. And then in order to make it 25, you have to fire 5 workers. 5 times 250, you get 1,250 as firing cost. 4,250 multiplied by 4, you get 17,000 straight time cost. And go to May. Your production requirement is 1,150. Multiplied by 5, you get 5,750. Number of production hours available is 122 multiplied by 8, 176. 5,750 divided by 176, you get 33. And then at the end of April, you have 25 workers. But in May, you need 33 workers. So you have to hire at the beginning of May, 8 workers. So hire 8 and 8 times 200, 1,600. That's the hiring cost, no firing. And so therefore no firing cost. 5,750 multiplied by 4, you get 23,000 as the strain time cost. And then go to June. Production requirement is 1,725. Multiplied by 5, you get 8,625 as the production hours required. And then working days 20, multiplied by 8, you have 160 hours in the month per worker. 8,625 divided by 160, you need 54 workers. And then you have 33 workers, so you have to hire 21. 21 multiplied by 200, 4,200 will be the hiring cost. No layoffs, therefore no layoff cost. And then 8,625 multiplied by 4, you get 34,500. So when you add this, the hiring cost, you have 1,600 plus 4,200. That is 5,800 hiring cost. When you add the layoff cost, you get 7,000. 1,500, 4,250, 1,250. It becomes 7,000. And when you add straight time cost to these numbers, you get 160,000. So at this, all these costs, you get, 1,772, 172,800 as the total cost of the plan. Okay, total cost of the plan. So if you have questions, you can ask. Any question? In that case, I'm moving into the next one. Constant workforce, vary inventory and stock out. Here, in this example, first thing you have to decide the constant workforce. Constant workforce, we decide. You see, the production total, total demand is 8,000 units. And then production hours required is 40,000. Divide that by, there are 125 working days. Multiply by 8 number of hours. So then it becomes 40. So you have this is to meet the average demand. So the workers required is calculated to meet average demand. You see, forecast demand is 8,000. Okay, so average demand. So this number of workers we calculate to meet the how many workers we need to meet the average demand. So the total demand is 8,000 multiplied by 5. So then you have 40,000 production hours required, and divide that by 125 is total number of working days, multiply by 8. So when you do this calculation, you get 40. And then you see we can calculate. So, so the beginning inventory is 400. Okay, let's go to January. Beginning inventory is 400. And then in January, you have number of working days is 22. Production hours available in January is 22 multiplied by 8. So there are 22 days, and then in one day you have 8 hours, and multiply that by 40 workers. So then January you have production hours available 7,040 production hours available. And then when you divide that by 4, I think it should be 5. It should be 5 because you have labor hours required 5 per unit. 5 per unit, so it should be 5. So then let's say that's 7,040. 7,040 divided by 5. We get 1,408, right? So this number is correct. So this number has to be so actually, this number has to be 5. This has to be 5, okay? I cannot change the number. One, two, three, four. 4 pro. So actual production. Production hours available divided by 5. So production hours available divided by 5. It's not 4, right? So, and then demand forecast is 1,800. And then ending inventory, we have beginning inventory 400 plus actual production is 1,408. So 1,408 plus 400, you get 1,808. And then beginning inventory plus actual production, you get 1,808 minus demand forecast, you get 8 units. You get 8 units. And then 8 unit will be your inventory. Safety stock is 450. So excess units, you see, ending inventory minus safety stock. So if only positive amount, so ending inventory is 8 minus safety stock is, you get a negative number. Therefore, you don't have excess units. And the inventory cost, you don't have inventory cost because there are no excess units. Straight time cost is, you have to multiply production hours available. That is 7,040 multiplied by 4. Let's say if the number is correct. 7,040 multiplied by 4. 28,160, so it's correct. And then you go to February. February ending inventory is 8. Beginning inventory is 8. Working days in the month is 19. Production hours available 19 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. So then 19 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. 6,080. And then actual production is 6,080 divided by 5. You get 1,216. Demand forecast is 1,500. And then the ending inventory, beginning inventory 8 plus actual production 1,216 minus demand forecast. So then you get minus 276. Ending inventory you get minus 276. And this minus 276 is shortage. Is shortage. So then shortage cost is you have marginal cost of stock out 5 per hour, 5 per unit. So then shortage cost comes as 276. 76 multiplied by 5. You get 1,380. And then safety stock is 375. Excess inventory is 0. Inventory cost is 0. 6,080 multiplied by 4. 6,080 multiplied by 4. You get 24,320. So this is correct. And then March, beginning inventory is, here you have back order. You have, this is minus 276 is back ordered, right? Back ordered. And then the March has 21 days of working. And then production hours available in March is 21 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. 21 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. You get 6,720. And then actual production is divide that by 5. 1,344. And then demand forecast is 1,100. And then out of this 1,344, and then ending inventory we can calculate. Beginning inventory is minus 276. Let's say minus 6 plus actual production is 1,344 minus forecast. Forecast is 1,100. You get minus 32. So this minus 32 is a shortage, okay? Shortage, and then shortage cost you have 32 multiplied by 5, you get 160. Safety stock is 375. Excessive inventory is 0 and the inventory cost is 0. 6,080 multiplied by 6,720 multiplied by 4. You get 26,880. So this March column is correct. And then we begin April with minus 32. And we are carrying a backboard of minus 32, right? So that's why you have minus 32. And then working days in the month is 21. The production hours available 21 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. Then 6,720. Shortage cost. In this situation, so shortage cost is, it has been given as 5. The estimating shortage cost. You have, I explained it earlier also. When there is a lost sale, there is some monetary, let's say when you supply, when an order comes and when that is not supplied, customer go away and then you have a lost sale situation. So that lost sale, kind of profit that you could have earned by the sale is lost. So that amount is one of the one part of the shortage cost. Other part of the shortage cost is, it is not monetary. It is not monetary because of the fact that customers are waiting for the order. Customers are waiting for the order, and it depends, it depends on, whether, when the order is placed, whether the total money is paid or not. If a percentage of money is paid, and then, you have a time value of money. So what you could have earned today, if you are earning it after another month, it's then the time value of money is also there. But more than that, the shortage cost, especially when it is backordered, customer is kept waiting, and then in future there is a chance that customer will not come back again. So that cost actually has to be estimated. So here in this question, the shortage cost has been given as such. Safety stock consider for which calculation? Safety stock, here, we excess unit calculation, we use safety stock. So you see, the excess unit units in excess is calculated, units above the safety stock. So ending inventory minus safety stock is the, there we are going to use the safety stock. Where are we? So I was here in April, I think. So then 6,720. And then actual production is I will answer that question, after explaining this thing. So it is your question is a disturbance, okay? So, so then, demand forecast is 900. And the ending inventory is, you get 412. So ending inventory you calculate. Beginning inventory is minus 32. Actual production 1,344. Minus demand forecast, you get 412. So you have ending inventory of 412. And then safety stock is 225. 412 minus 225, you get units in excess, 187. This amount, you have to multiply 1.5. This 1.5 is the holding cost. So if you can see 1.5, inventory holding cost is 1.5 per unit. Okay, so in the example itself, that student's question, answer to the question is here. You see, excess units in excess comes as the inventory. Okay, so then this inventory you have to multiply by inventory holding cost. So then you 187 multiplied by 1.5, you get 281. 6,720 multiplied by 4, you get 26,880. And then go to May. Your beginning inventory is the ending inventory here. Beginning inventory is the ending inventory here. And then working days in the month is 22. Production hours available 22 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40. You get 7040. Actual production 7040 divided by 5, 1408. And then the demand forecast is 1100. And the ending inventory is 412 plus 1408 minus 1100. So then you get 720. And then there is no shortage. And excess unit is 720 minus safety stock 225. Then you get 445. 720 minus minus 275. You get 445. And then 445 multiplied by 1.5, you get 668. And then go to June. So the beginning inventory is 720. And then 20 days in the month. So production hours available 20 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 40, 6,400. Production is, actual production is 6,400 divided by 5, 1,280. And the ending inventory is, demand is 1,600. So ending inventory is 720 plus 1,280 minus 1,600, that's 400. And then shortage, there's no shortage. Safety stock is 400. 400 minus 400, anything excess 0. So no inventory cost. 6,400 multiplied by 4, we get 25,600. And when you add this shortage cost, you get 1,540. 1,380 plus 160, you get 1,540. Inventory cost, you get 281 plus 668, you get 948. It should be different. Let's say 187 multiplied by 1.5. Let's say 280.5 plus 445 multiplied by 1.5. 948. So actually this one is 280.5. Okay. And then that's why otherwise, if you had added 281 plus 667, then you get 949. Okay. So 948, you get the when you the exact number is 948. So 280.5 plus this one 667.5. So you get 948. And then the total cost of the plan is 1,540 plus 948 plus 160,000. to get 162,488. So now if you have questions, you can ask. You see, you may have this question, this first part, hiring cost, layoff cost, workers required. Layoff cost is there, workers, hiring cost is there, new workers hired. And then, in this question, so you have a safety stock. Safety stock is actually when they come to later. So remember, safety stock is not an inventory. Okay, safety stock is not considered as an inventory. So here also, inventory become excess units after the safety stock. Any additional units after the safety stock is not considered an inventory. You see the purpose of the safety stock. Safety stock is like, is to supply from once the large, you see, let's say you keep an order, let's say you keep the average demand to supply average demand, let's say average demand, let's say it is 1,000 units. Maybe you can take here from here, so like demand forecast, let's say in January demand is 1,800. Okay, January demand is 1,800. And then the safety stock is 450. Safety stock 450. Okay, and then safety stock is also normally kept in the, kept where inventory is kept. Okay, and then you might think that and then if you, let's say, suddenly suddenly if the demand goes up, if the demand is, let's say demand is, let's say 1,000, let's say 2,000, demand is 2,000. So when, if the demand becomes 2,000, so this is a forecast, right? Then actual demand becomes 2,000, then we have to supply from the safety stock. So when this 2,000 is, so that then safety stock come down to, let's say, then suddenly demand is 2,000, and then we supply the order, this demand from safety stock. Okay. So then safety stock is also, remember, this is these examples are, production, produced to order, produced to stock. See, when we produce to stock, any company will have a stocking area, and then if they have to stock more than what they can stock, okay, more than what they can stock, additional cost occurs. So safety stock is also in this situation, once the production is produced stock, situation, you see your production, the production is in the store. So the and then safety stock is also in the stock. You can't keep a safety stock, Remember that, safety stock is there to supply orders when excess demand occurs. So normally, if you don't, the forecasts are not going to be accurate, right? So in the event that, the greater than the forecast demand occurs, you have to use the safety stock. Safety stock's purpose is not to safeguard that stock. Some people think, say the purpose of the safety stock is that we keep it. We keep it for safety. Safety is that, when the greater demand, more than the demand excess, more than the expected demand occurs, let's say here, actual demand is, forecast demand is 1,800. Actual demand is 2,000, then you supply from safety stock. Then at the end of the month, safety stock go down to 250. So actually the tradition is we don't use the safety. We do not consider safety stock as inventory. That is the tradition. So this has to be calculated, considered. This is the there is variation in demand, right? So when we estimate demand in practical situation, okay, in practice, practice, okay. In practice, forecast equals average demand equals average let's say, and then there is a variance. There is also variance. There is also variance, right? So this safety stock is calculated using the variance in order to account for variation. Count for variation. Safety stock is used. So then actually when you get numbers like this, these numbers, but there is a variation, demand variation. So sometimes demand go up, sometimes it go down. So if it go up, you supply from safety stock. Otherwise, safety stock is kept in the inventory. And then when in another period, when the demand goes up, you have to use the safety stock. So that's how it is. So, and then after using the safety stock also, if there is more demand, that part goes to shortages. So that is the way. Normally, you see, normally there is like this. Companies keep the recommended approach. You have a safety stock, and then you have reserve stock. Okay, the safety stock is kept to meet variation in demand during lead time. Safety stock is kept to meet variation in demand during lead time. Okay, and then reserve stock is used to meet demand during lead time delays. Okay. So then what happens is when let's say for example you have a safety stock plus 450, and then reserve stock, this is safety stock. And then let's say reserve stock of let's say 400, and then you have let's say the demand forecast equals, let's say 1,800. But actual demand let's say 2,500. Actual demand is 2,500. And then let's say we produce, and then, you know, what happens is, you know, we have here excess. We have an additional demand of 700. So this 700 is first supplied from reserve stock. So then, you know, reserve stock fully used, and then balance 300 we have to use from safety stock. Then the safety stock will come down to 150. So like that, you know, the practical usage. But lot of companies, you know, don't use a reserve stock. But it's better to keep a reserve stock also. This one is related to the to meet demand during lead time delays. Okay, the safety stock is to keep to meet variation in demand, of demand during lead time. The lead time delays also can happen. Like, you know, you place the order, and normally lead time, let's say lead time is 2 months, and then during this particular 2 months, you have demand can vary. And then but then if there is a delay of another 3 weeks, then, you know, in order to account for such delays, you know, we have to keep a reserve stock. So this one actually, you know, when we calculate the order quantity, I will discuss this part, you know, in the next week inventory management lecture. So this part, you know, how the order quantity involves, you know, the demand during lead time, and then to account for and safety stock, and also reserve stock. So this kind of this is actually, this part is actually covered in the inventory. Okay. The only thing is, you know, safety stock is not for safekeeping. Safety stock is for usage due to meet, you know, variation of demand during lead time. So you have to use it. And the safety stock and all kinds of inventories are kept in the store, the same place. And, I have never heard, you know, people having a, you know, it's maybe just, you know, you know, some people think that, you know, safety stock is for safekeeping. It's not that. Safety stock is for when the demand during lead time goes beyond the estimated demand, then you have to you have the safety stock to use. So that's all. Remember, safety stock is not for safekeeping. So it is also in the inventory. It is also in the inventory. When your production is produced, and then the total production it goes to the store, and that's where, along with you know, along with other production, you know, it's safety stock is also part of the production lot. So here, if actual demand is 2,500, then forecast is 1,800. So forget about the forecast, you have to use the let's say this forecast is, let's say imagine this forecast is produced, and then you have additional demand of 700. That 700 you will have to use first from reserve stock and then from safety stock. So then reserve stock is going to be fully depleted, and then safety stock is going to come down to 150. So that's how it is. So it is the demand forecast that we, based on the demand forecast is production is done. But then when produce, you produce safety stock and also reserve stock also part of the production. So then when produced, let's say in the absence of other things, okay, you produce 1,800 plus 400 plus 450. That is, you see, 1,008, that's 1,200 plus 450. That's 1,650. You have a production. Actual demand is 250. And then, you supply 2,500 supply, supply from first, the additional part, the additional 700 you supply first from reserve stock and then from safety stock. If you are not keeping your reserve stock, so then of course, there's a chance that you go into stock out. So then demand forecast is 1,800 and then you produce demand forecast and safety stock. So then the total production is 2,250, but to occur a demand, you have to face a demand of 2,500 and then you have a stock out of 250 units. So that's how it goes. So it depends, a company needs to make sure that, whether there are variations in demand during lead time and also whether there are delays in the lead time. Lead time is also an estimated number, but then there can be delays. Let's say you are supposed to get the order in 2 months and then there's a delay of 1 month. So then this kind of delays are also possibilities. So okay. So if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to end the class. See you next week.
Thank you, sir. See you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Recording stopped.